We're continuing our conversation with World War II veterans from Davie County, and I'm excited today to have Charley Craig Haynes. How you doing today, Mr. Haynes?
Pretty good, but I have done better, but it was a long time ago.
Well, great. Well, listen, I really enjoyed the day that you and I spent in Washington, D.C., and I was fascinated by your story, your World War II story. But before we get into that, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit about your history. Are you a native to Davie County?
Yeah.
So you were born what year?
1924.
1924, so you were 17 years old in 41 when the bomb, or not when the bomb, but when Pearl Harbor was attacked. When did you enlist into the military?
In December of 42. I went to Camp Prof, and the best I can remember, we were sworn in and we got to come home for a few days, and I went back to Fort Jackson in January of 43.
How did you transport back and forth to those forts?
Bus.
It was on a bus. So you left home. Did you live on a farm?
Yeah.
What kind of farm did your family have?
Well, it wasn't too big a farm, but we raised a lot of our own stuff, you know, and it wasn't too easy then. But we got by pretty good, you know.
Let me ask you this: 17 years old when Pearl Harbor was attacked, did that scare you, knowing that the Japanese had made an aggressive attack?
Not really, because at that age, I didn't take stuff too serious. I didn't realize what it really meant, you know. But I knew it was bad, you know.
So, which branch of the service did you choose?
Well, I was drafted, but I wound up with the Air Force. I was with the 5th Air Force.
So, how long before you were, I believe you were transported over to the West Coast? How quickly were you transported to the West Coast?
Well, we went to Atlantic City, New Jersey, and took our basic training. And after the basic training, I don't remember exactly what month it was, but anyway, I thought I might get, when I left up there, I thought I might get closer home. Had my fortune told, and they told me I would, but that didn't pan out. We got on a troop train, and it didn't stop till we got to California.
Was that a long trip?
Pretty long.
So when you got to California, did you go straight to a ship? Did you?
No, we took our overseas training, and let's see. Now I went in January, and we spent from then till October in the States before we left to go overseas. We left the States in October.
Were you excited to be able to get on a ship and start heading west?
But you know, after I went in, I mean, I was homesick just like about everybody else, but I didn't, after I got over being homesick, every move was just another move, you know. And I still didn't take things too serious. And, but I realized later on that things was serious, you know.
So you got on the ship. What was your destination when you were shipped
out? Well, I think it was maybe Australia. Well, I really don't know for sure. But anyway, we left the States October the 28th to go overseas.
And this was I guess that was 43?
Yeah.
Okay. So you did you left San Francisco?
Right.
Went under the bridge.
Right.
And you were out at sea. Was that the first time that you were ever in the sea on a boat? Did you get sick?
No. A lot of them did. A lot of them did. But we got on the ship, and we were told that we'd meet up with a convoy. Well, we kept sailing, and 3 or 4 days, no convoy, we were by ourselves. And then somebody that got it started that the ship was too fast for a convoy. and I asked them if it didn't have, that thing didn't have a throttle on it. But anyway, we kept going by ourselves, and 14 days out from San Francisco, November the 11th, Armistice Day, a submarine got up beside of us, and that's when it dawned on me that we were really in a war, and them cats meant business.
So when you say a submarine came up beside you,
yeah,
what you mean is a Japanese sub?
Japanese sub. But we'd have, we had abandoned ship drills and things like that, you know, and of course, I thought a lot of that wasn't no good, you know, because I just thought this is another trip. But by having the drills, it meant a lot of difference in some of them coming back, not coming back, you know.
So, but did you see Zeros before?
No. We were just on our way out. I mean, we didn't have no, it's submarines is the only thing we was concerned about, you know.
So, I think the interesting story that you are here to talk about today is the fact that your ship, what was the name of the ship?
Cape San Juan.
Cape San Juan was attacked by a Japanese sub.
Right.
It was torpedoed.
Right.
What time of the day was it?
About 5:30 in the morning.
Now, I'm assuming were you at duty or were you sleeping?
I was asleep up on deck.
Now, why were you sleeping on deck?
Well, a lot of times it's hot down the hold, and I just felt better up on deck for some reason. But that's where we was at.
Go with us through that moment at 5:30 in the morning. Did you know that you had been hit?
Well, when we were hit, it seemed like the front end of the ship went down, and the water come up on deck, you know, splattered on it. But when that happened, I realized that we was in a war and they meant business. But that's the first time really it dawned on me that we was in a war.
So was this a significant blow to the ship?
It was what?
Was the torpedo a significant blow to the ship?
Oh, yeah.
What did it do to the ship?
Well, it stopped it dead in the water. And of course there was diesel fuel all out. And when we got out in there, you couldn't tell black from a white because, you know, had diesel fuel all over us. And there was a colored outfit on there with the engineers, and I think it hit, and a lot of the stuff caved in where they were sleeping, you know, because they had to replace a lot of their people. They lost a lot of them before that go.
Now I noticed in this 1st Fighter Control Squadron, 5th Air Force reunion that you had in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, June the 7th, 2001, it listed here the men who were killed on November the 11th of 43. So it looks like there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 that were killed on that experience. How quickly did the ship go down?
It didn't go down right away, but it was dead in the water. We was by ourselves. The submarine was still out there, and the captain, I mean, of course, they'd already told us in case if a ship went down to get away from it, which you could because the suction would take us down with it, you know. So it was dead in the water. So there, like I said, the old captain, he gave the abandoned ship. He gave the order to abandon ship, and he said, "And man, this ain't no drill." Of course, we knew it wasn't, you know.
Did the fear of God go through your heart?
Well, I don't know. At that time, I really, I didn't get too scared, but. Yeah, I know it wasn't nothing to be proud of, but it was. I just had a feeling that everything's going to be okay, you know.
Wow. So you're on deck. The ship is torpedoed. What do you do for the next so many minutes until you have to go overboard?
It wasn't long till we went down the ladder and got off of that thing.
What did you get onto?
It was a life raft. I think it was about a 14-man raft, and I think there was 20 some of us on it. but we didn't have. There wasn't enough rafts on the ship to start with, or they could, because a lot of them, the only thing they had was their life jackets.
Did you did the submarine stay around? Could you see the submarine, or did it?
No,
it flee.
No, it. I guess it probably stayed around, but there was a land-based plane come out from New Zealand and flew around, circled around to keep it from coming up. If it had, they could have got it,
Mm-hmm.
And then up in the morning, there was a cargo ship come by, and it picked up, I don't know, it told in the paper how many it picked up several. But it wasn't supposed to do that because it took a chance on getting hit by a torpedo, and it would change courses every little bit. And then the water was awful rough that particular day, is the roughest it had been since we'd left the States.
So how long were you in the life raft?
Yeah, from about a little after 5:30 that morning, all day and all night, and the next day about 3 o'clock.
So you were in there for 30-some hours.
Yeah.
What was it? I mean, I can't help but think you were sitting there saying, "Dear Lord, when are we going to be saved?" Were you looking out over the horizon?
There was a guy on there. He was a cook. And Jimmy, he was a Greek. But this cargo ship that was out there, we worked all day trying to get close to it, and you could see a rope ladder hanging over the side, and you couldn't tell where you're making any headway or not, rough as the water was, but we did get up pretty close to it, and I could just see myself climbing up that thing. It was late that afternoon, and all of a sudden, I mean, that thing, it took off and it went out of sight over the horizon. Well, the Greek, he got all excited and he went to hollering, we die, we'd never be picked up and all that. And I told him, I said, no, we don't need to hear stuff like that. I said, they know we're out here, and the only thing we got to do, the only thing we can do is hang on here till morning, and there'll be somebody out to get us. Kind of got him quieted down, and so that was all we could do, just hang on till.
So the ship, the safety boats were cram-packed. Were you able to lay down?
Well, see that when that ship left, there wasn't nothing out there with us on the rafts. Mm-hmm.
Were you able to lay down on the raft?
Oh no, it was just a donut raft, mm-hmm. And there was so much weight on it. It was underwater most of the time, but it held us up,
So how many? I guess 30-some hours. You're back. You're on the ship. Who was the rescue ship?
Well, there was a destroyer come out the next day. There was a minesweeper and a subchaser, and that up in the morning you could see things come up, looked like two fingers coming up over the horizon, But we were scattered out over. All that many people were scattered out everywhere. But the Greek, he thought they ought to come right straight to us, pick us up,
Mm-hmm.
But it took a long time to get to us, And but anyway, I was picked up by, it was a small outfit, and we was transferred over to the destroyer, and but there was a lot of them didn't make it during the night before that goes, but it wasn't an easy deal.
So once you got on the destroyer, let's go from that point. Were you reassigned to another ship?
No, we went to the Fiji Islands, and part of them went so later on went to New Caledonia and the Fiji Islands, and then we was checked into the hospital there, and some of them had to stay longer than others, and but then we all got back together sometime in December. We went to Australia, Went to a place called in Brisbane, Australia, and it was actually it was a racetrack. Camp Ascot was the name of it. And of course we lost everything we had. And all I had when I got off of that ship was I think I had a pair of coveralls. And it's what I had on, my shoes, lost everything. And but the sailors, they were good. They gave us anything that they had that we could use. They gave it to us and all. But we got to Australia, and then we had to get refurnished with everything, and all the equipment and everything that was had on that ship. It had to be sent to Australia. They had to unpack it and check it out, and then pack it back up, you know, to go on our way on these other places where we were going. But it was that was a wake-up call for us. I did think what I thought about though when that happened at that submarine. If that ship had went down right then, of course some of the guys stayed on it and fired the guns, you know, to fire the guns. But what I thought about, if it had went down, they'd have come up, machine gun every one of us, I guess. Probably what they would have done. Because I don't think they take survivors on a submarine.
So, were you scared to get back on another ship?
Well, it wasn't too easy.
I bet it wasn't.
It wasn't too
I
easy.
can't imagine being almost.
But we the next one we got on, they loaded it down. They put gas on it, and we went on up in the more dangerous waters than what we'd already been through. And but we didn't get hit by another submarine.
Did you ever see any Zeros?
Well, yeah. After we got to these places, you know, after we got them islands, yeah, there was you'd see them fly over.
Did any of them attempt to hit your ship in a suicide mission?
Oh well, yeah, there were several of them before that go. But we left. I mean, we went to these places I told you about in that book there.
Mm-hmm.
It tells about the places we were at. But anyway, it's we left a lot of places. We was on one island. The name of it was Wadka Island, and there was troops on it, and there was an island close to it, and we'd use barges to go back and forth from one island to the next. And I was in the motor pool, and they'd bring stuff in there on planes, and we'd take trucks over there on the barge, and they'd unload the planes, and we'd take them to the dump, gas dump, all that. But this airstrip, of course, the Japs had it before we took over, or the Army and them took over.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't hardly big enough to land planes on. But if the plane come in and didn't hit right at the end of it, he'd wind up in the ocean. And there was B-24s there, and some of them didn't make it off before that goes. But the small island we was on, they never did drop a bomb on it. But the Japs could come over there during the night and hit that island because, you know, they knew where it was at.
How far was it from Japan?
From where?
Japan?
It was a long ways, a pretty good ways before that go. But they had searchlights, and them planes that come over, they could see them in the searchlight, but they didn't have no guns there to reach them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a picture in that book there of where they come in there one night and hit a gas dump. That lit up everything. I remember that. This is good because yesterday before that go.
Let me ask you this. When did you meet your wife?
When?
Mm-hmm.
When I got out of service,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know her.
Mm-hmm.
I went in, me and her brother went in service. You probably heard the name, Bulldog Green.
I know Bulldog Green. I knew Bulldog Green.
We went in service together. and that was his sister that I married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we took basic training together up in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
What was Bulldog's real name?
James.
James. James. How did he get the name Bulldog?
It hung with him though.
It did. I remember growing up, people referring to him as Bulldog. Was it hard for you to come back and come back into the agrarian lifestyle of Davie County after going through all that you went through in World War II?
No, I was just tickled to get back. See, I never did get back home the time I went in until I come home with my discharge.
Mm-hmm.
I never did get back home. Things changed in 3 years' time too. But the biggest thing that I seen is kids that was 12, 14, 15-year-old when I left. They changed so much in 3 years. There's a whole lot of them I didn't know. It made a big difference in them growing up, you know.
Once you got hit by the torpedo, did it cause you to hate the Japanese?
Well, no, not really. I mean, I wasn't too proud of them because they was in there just like we were, you know. And a lot of people, when they had this tornado, this hurricane, earthquake over there, but they didn't. A lot of them thought, well, they got what's coming to them, you know. But the crowd over there now, they didn't have no more to do with that than we had with slavery, you know. So, I mean, like I said, they were in there just like we were. And
where were you the day that Colonel Farabee dropped the atomic bomb out of the Enola Gay?
I was on Low Hog on Luzon Island. And the best I could remember, I think we was on this up on northern Luzon, and there was a river, and there was a bridge that they blew the middle span out of the bridge before they took off. But the officers, they stayed over in this little town, and we stayed on the other side. But they had a walkway across that bridge, and a lot of times the river, it was a shallow river for that goes, and you could drive vehicles across it. But the best I can remember, I think I was going over to that town to taking a tire to go on the Jeep for one of the officers when that happened.
What's your opinion of the decision
that it was made?
Yes, sir.
It was the right one.
Tell me why you think it was the right one. Why do you think it was the right one?
Well, I mean, it's like Tom Farabee. He said a lot of times, he was asked that question a lot of times, and every time he was asked that question, he said that well, he of course had saved a lot of lives, because if it hadn't invaded Japan, it would have been awful how many Americans and how many Japanese would have got killed, although there was a lot got killed when they dropped that bomb. But it still saved a lot of lives. And he said he didn't have no regrets because that's what he was trained to do. And he done what he was trained to do.
If it was, let's pretend for a moment that it's 2030, a number of years from now, 20-some years from now, what would you want someone to know about your service in World War II? After you're gone, I don't predict that you or either one will be around in 30 years. What would you want someone to know about your service in World War II?
Well, what they ought to be doing now is teaching a lot of it in school, and let people realize what caused this country to have the freedom that it's got now, and the sacrifice that a lot of people had to make, you know, and they was willing to make it for the cause that we was in it for, you know.
What do you feel like when you see the American flag?
Well, it makes you feel good to see it. I mean, that's just like when I went on that honor flight, I've told a lot of people that if a person didn't go on that and wasn't around to see the reception that we got when we got back, I didn't have words to even now come close to explaining, you know, what it really meant to be a part of it, you know. And on the other hand, I couldn't think about the ones that went like I did that didn't get a chance to come back like I did. That was the first thing I thought about when we got back, coming back to the States, coming out of the Golden Gate Bridge. I thought of all the people that went out under it like I did that didn't get to come back.
It says here this is the USAT Cape San Juan. It was on 11 November 43 at 5:30, 300 miles east of, is it Suva Fuji Islands. The ship was hit by a Japanese torpedo. Where were you at on the ship?
I was close right up in here, close to that gun turret.
Are these guns, is this a turret right here?
Yeah, there's a one big picture in there of that ship I showed you a while ago. But of course you can see that then.
Now do you remember going underneath the Golden Gate Bridge?
Oh yeah.
What's it like for a country boy to find himself in San Francisco going under the Golden Gate Bridge?
Something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's amazing. You were mentioning a story here. Tell us about this. Torpedo man finds.
Okay, that guy there, 47 years after this happened, he went to New Zealand, and he found this guy that was in that plane that flew over that morning that the torpedo hit. He made a picture with a little old brownie camera of the ship after that morning it was hit, just listed in the water. He gave it to him, and the guy that put the book together put it in there. But he goes over there, and 47 years after that happened, he found the guy that was on that plane.
So what was the plane just doing a surveillance to see?
No, they come out. They picked up SOS messages, see. And they come out to see what they could do. But
now they weren't able to land, were they? In the water.
No.
Okay.
But now they was on top of that, there was a plane that the seaplane did land out there, and I don't know where I got the picture in that or not, but I don't think I have. But there was a seaplane. It was flying supplies for the Navy. He was a civilian pilot. And when they got the SOS message about the ship being sunk, he was going into the Fiji Island. And he asked for a volunteer crew to come out to see what they could do. So all of them volunteered, and he had to leave 2 back because he wanted more. He wanted all the room he could get, you know. So they come out there. And that water was rough when they got out there. It was it said from 10 to 15 feet swells.
Was it cold?
And you know how you hit a wave with a boat, how it sounds like it'll knock the bottom out of it. But he landed that plane out there.
He landed it out there.
And picked up 48 men.
In one plane?
In that one plane. And they throwed out everything that they could. But that co-pilot, he come to the first reunion that we had, and the second one we had in Colorado Springs, he was to come to that, and he died 2 weeks before we had that one.
How many reunions have you been to?
I believe about 12 or 14. The last one we had, I got some pictures in the back of that. Was in 2002. But that co-pilot, his picture's in there somewhere. Who is that?
Edward. What was
Bonfoy.
It? Bonfoy. Was he the captain?
Yeah, he was one of the captains in our outfit. But the co-pilot on that plane, he was a nice guy.
Do you get this book out much and read it?
Now that was the commanding officer.
Do you get this book out and look at it much?
Well, yeah, I do.
Does it bring back good memories or bad memories?
Yeah, because all that bunch, these reunions. Now there was who is
Donald
Dake. That's the commanding officer. He treated every one of us just like we was his own boys. He was a super guy.
Is there a bond that comes between men who serve together and who almost lose their life together?
Yes.
That can't be broken?
That's right.
I was noticing here that at your last reunion, known deceased as of June 2001, there's a lot of men that have died.
Oh, yeah. I believe I counted them. Seemed like it was 91, I believe. But they called out every one of the names on that. I got a video. I got a video of that reunion.
When you go to those reunions, is it emotional?
Yeah, it is. I mean, but now I see we quit having it because there's so many of them. Passed away. The guy that was responsible for us having a reunion to start with. We had one in '98 in San Francisco. That's the last one my wife got to go to. And he was to have one in Florida in '99, and he had a triple bypass. Well, it was too. But anyway, he passed away. And 1 week from the day he passed away, she passed away. So that knocked that in there. And it wasn't too far. See, a lot of times we'd leave from there, we'd go down through Dallas, come back the southern route, you know. And
let me ask you this question. In 4 words, I want you to tell me what this lady right here means to you.
Everything in the world. Yeah, she's the best thing that ever happened to me.
I knew it wasn't going to be 4 words. Tell me why she was the best thing that ever happened to you.
Well, she was just a good person.
When did you lose your wife?
Huh?
When did you lose your wife?
2000. She had colon cancer, and she took treatments, and they wanted her to go to Chapel Hill for another operation. So we did. We went to Chapel Hill. They operated. It spread to her liver. They operated on her liver. Her liver grew back, but it didn't work. They couldn't understand why it didn't work. But that other picture in there.
Is that you got a picture of her as a youngin'?
No, I just got it's a good picture that I like. I had a piece of paper. There it is. There it is.
Now, what year was this picture taken?
I think that was probably in 1947. By the time we got married.
She's a beautiful lady. Beautiful lady. Well, we're gonna begin to end our conversation today. I want to thank you so much for opening up and sharing with us your story, your World War II story, and I want to tell you that the day that you told me about your experience in the Pacific, it just made me have that much more appreciation for you.
I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate it. America appreciates the service that you offered in the 1940s. Real quickly, what did you do after the war?
I went to work for R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, and I worked there 35 years. I retired in 1983. I told somebody a while back I've been retired almost as long as I worked.
Here's the last thing I want you to tell the camera. Your family is obviously going to get a copy of this video, and I'm certain that it will be a keepsake of theirs. If you wanted to tell your family something that they could keep for the rest of their life, even after you have left this earth, what would you want to tell your family?
Well, I just like to tell them that I love them. I've loved them, and I've done the best I could with them, and I hope the best for them.
Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it very much. This is ending another conversation that we've had the opportunity to have with a World War II veteran, Charley Craig Haynes.
And I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate
what you've done and how much you've meant, and it's been a pleasure for me to meet you. I'd heard a lot about you, but I hadn't really met you till we got to Greensboro on the Flight of Honor.
Well, it was my pleasure, and I appreciate it very much. This is going to end it, so thanks for tuning in, and I hope we have a lot more opportunities to share with you stories from World War II.